Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gunpowder and Freedom. So as you can see, I'm driving. Camera's mounted on the dashboard, so if anybody's concerned about safety, don't. It's fine. I'm headed out to a job that I've been working on for the last few weeks. It's a pretty elaborate project, and it's my last one of the year. So after I'm done with this, I can primarily focus on my dad's work and help him wrap up all of his projects that he's trying to get finished while we have, probably realistically another couple weeks of decent weather that we can be pouring concrete outside. As I said, this was the last one for me, so I'll be able to help him with that, as well as get back up to the Freedom compound and do some more projects there, as well as just go up and shoot some guns. I haven't been able to do that for probably over a month now, just with the season winding down. We've been so busy at work, and really like to get up there before the weather goes to complete crap and do some shooting. So yeah, with that being said, headed out to this project. Whenever we get there, I'll show you guys everything, what we have going on, what still needs to be done in order to wrap this one up. And yeah, so I'll see you guys out there. Okay everybody, here it is, this awesome pole that me and the guys have been working on. Me, Jim, Matt, and Stan did the pole border a couple weeks ago. We tackled that on a Saturday morning, got that all poured. I came over the following Sunday and sealed it, and then the pole company needed a week or so to get the concrete in the pole, the liner in, so we weren't able to do the main deck area until yesterday. So all this week, pretty much after work, I've been coming over and getting this prepped and ready, and we got it poured yesterday with the help of all the guys. We were able to get this knocked out first thing in the morning, and it all came together really nice. So now what we need to do is power wash all the excess color off, and it's very important that if you're going to do this on your own, that if you're going to use powder, you don't walk on it until you power wash it clean. If you do, you're going to push the powder into the open pores of the concrete, and then you'll see those footprints in the color. And then what you end up having to do is rub them out, get a sponge or use your hand or something, and then you end up with more of a splotchy look. It doesn't look as natural as it could. So I'm gonna get the power washer hooked up, get the camera set up, power wash everything, get all the excess color off. Then I'll put my control cuts in to give it some relief from cracking, and then we'll give it a final cleaning so that I can seal it tomorrow and wrap this one up. Okay, so all of the excess powder is power washed off. I gave the wall a quick washing. Definitely hit that a lot better after we're done saw cutting. And then as you saw, I made sure I went along and hit all the siding. You know, really good. Got all of our concrete and Keller off it on both sides. You know, we pump this and occasionally you do get some splashing, but you can kind of see how it doesn't really look that monotoned anymore. It still looks super dull, especially compared to the border and the concrete patio that we poured, oh boy, what was this, 4 or 5 years ago? Right there. So I'm going to go ahead, get my saw cuts in. We've got to get them laid out and then get them in, and then give everything a good final cleaning, including the old patio, their patio here, all their furniture. So I mean, yes, powder is a lot more messy. It goes everywhere. As you saw, you probably saw it went into the pool. But the pool company has to do their final cleaning, so that's never been an issue, which is always really nice. Most of the pool companies around here are awesome to deal with. But you know, this is one of those finishes that is very time consuming, especially if you're trying to, you know, go the extra mile for your customers. I mean, really anybody could do this, wash it, cut it, clean it, and seal it. But you know, if you really want to make a good name for yourself, you want to build a good reputation like my dad has taught me over the years, you really need to have that attention for detail and make sure you look at stuff like the siding, the furniture, the wall, all the surrounding areas. You want it looking better than when you came here. So you know, it's little things like that that really go a long way. Yeah, so just, if you're going to do this, just know that powder is very messy. You have to wash everything, and the customer also feels like they get a win-win because now they get pretty much their entire house power washed. So let's get our chalk lines laid out and get saw cut going. Okay, so all of our cuts are in. Everything is nice and straight. This side here was a little tricky. You know, I only have 2.5 feet to work. I have a 18-inch border to stand on. So as you saw, I had to flip the handle up, put the saw basically in between my legs, and just kind of push the whole machine rather than just the handle. So stuff like that gets a little tricky, but you know, with a lot of practice, you know, it's stuff like that is things that you can do that make cutting a lot easier, a little bit more efficient. The alternative would be to get like a chop saw or something, and now I know 99.9% of the population wouldn't notice it, but the chop saw blade is a little bit thicker than the saw blade on our soft cut saw, which is right there. That's the saw that we primarily use. So when you have all of these other cuts looking nice and uniform, and then you get into stuff like that where you're switching blade size, again, 99.9% of the population isn't going to realize it. but it's something that I look at because it's, you know, this is what I do. You know, not that I critique other people's work, it's just, you know, I pick up on stuff like that. So if I pick up on it, there might be someone else that does, and I never want to give anybody a reason to say, well, he took a shortcut there, he did this wrong there. So, you know, I try not to sell myself by my ability to badmouth people. Not everybody's like that though, so you try to limit anything like that. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that on this saw, the blade is obviously set back a little bit from the front of the machine. So when you get into stuff like this, your corner cuts, you know, not only do I have my side and corner, but I also have that downspout that the saw hit. So my cut ran about 8 inches short. So tomorrow, right before I seal it, I'm gonna bring my grinder with me, finish that off, get it into that corner, and make sure it's you know, make sure we dive that cut down really nice. We want all of these cracks that are going to happen to follow our cuts, because, you know, anybody that's ever done concrete before, they can guarantee you that it's going to crack and that nobody's going to steal it. So that's that. We're going to get the saw loaded up. Pretty much everything we're done with, we're going to get that loaded up, and then I'm jumping back on the power washer to give the concrete, the house, the old patios, the patio furniture, the walls, the hot tub, the grill, the flower pots, everything is getting washed. So enjoy that time lapse. Okay, there it is. Power washing, saw cutting, and final cleaning. Check, check, and check. This is awesome. I love my job. It's so cool to do stuff like this, where it's like really decorative and you just get to see everything come to life. It's so cool. I mean, you know, I can do smaller jobs by myself, but something like of this magnitude, I'm extremely fortunate to have the crew that we have, because all of our guys are just top notch, and you know, they all treat every job like it's their own house. So attention to detail is a very, you know, one of the top priorities for them, and I just can't thank those guys enough. I appreciate all the help they give me. But I mean, as far as this one goes, that's going to be it for today. The next step for me is to come back here tomorrow afternoon to get the sealing on. I have to seal it. That's really going to bring everything to life. It's really going to pull that color out and give it that really realistic look. And personally, that's my favorite part of that process. So, you know, while you're waiting for that process, why don't you jump on over and hit the like and subscribe. So yeah, a little bit of cleanup. Gonna head home, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. All right, everybody, back here Sunday late morning. I think it's like 11 o'clock or something. It's actually pretty warm out. It's almost 60 degrees here, which is like perfect temperature for sealing. If you put the sealer on too cold, it's not going to bind, and it turns all white and cloudy. If you put it on and it's too hot, it also doesn't bind, but it bubbles up, and you just have a whole nother issue. So taking a look around, obviously we have some leaves all over the place here, but everything looks good. Everything's nice and dry. We're gonna go ahead and get the leaf blower set up, well, get the camera set up, get leaf blowing, and get sealing. Especially this time of year, you want to do this stuff relatively quick because we got a couple trees right there, so a little bit of wind, you know, we could have more leaves dropping, and we got to stop sealing, blow them off again, and so you kind of want it to go as quickly as possible. So I'm going to get the camera set up and get going. So as soon as I'm done leaf blowing, the first thing I'm going to do is run a shield around our perimeter. We want to make sure we shield the walls real good, the older concrete on the patio, and the house really well. That way we don't get any sealer overspray on any of that stuff. I'm not worried too much about the border. A little bit of extra sealer on that, it's never a bad thing, especially with it being so new and also clean. So yep. Okay, so there it is. The final project of the year for me, wrapped up nicely with a bow on it. Now, just to reiterate a couple things. Number one, if you're going to criticize the pool water, the pool company still has to come back and do their final cleaning. So we all were on the understanding that we were using dust. There was going to be dust in the pool. They said no big deal. They have temporary filters that they put in to cycle the water through it before they actually close it up. So they said don't even worry about that. I said perfect. We got everything stamped, colored, cut, cleaned, and sealed, baby. And this is looking awesome. This is probably one of my favorite looks, the stamped slate with a rolled slate border. I like the slate. It goes with everything. It's modern, but it looks really fancy, and it just has so much definition to it that, you know, when you have a really good crew and a team that just knows what to do, when to do it, you know, it looks super realistic, and I absolutely love it. So I can't thank those guys enough for all the help and work they gave me on this. But yeah, so this one's all done. Sealer's looking good, and on every pool that we do, we always really up the amount of gator grip that we put in it. You know, especially for little kids that are running around, we don't want anybody slipping, falling, getting hurt. The Butterfield Clear Guard Pro 350 is our sealer of choice for this stuff. It's a really high gloss sealer that does a really good job at protecting it, as well as showing you all the definition and everything. But if it's just put on bare, it does get really slippery when it's wet. So that's why we use the traction control additive. And yeah, I mean, I think this looks absolutely stellar. So yeah, knock this one out of the park. So I'm gonna go ahead and get cleaned up, and we're taking Eleanor to the pumpkin patch now. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Gunpowder and Freedom. If you like what you saw, please click the like and subscribe. Don't forget to check back later for more videos too. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.